Go mbeannaí dhaoibh uaisle agus furcéad fáilte arás. Hello everyone, and you're all very welcome back to this next episode, third episode of Seanfhocal na sheachtain. So, our proverb for this week is Bíonn airce fada na dhaoibh thar lear. Bíonn airce fada na dhaoibh thar lear. Bíonn airce fada na dhaoibh thar lear. Okay, so what does it mean? Let's break it down. So similar to last time, you've got this word bíonn, the present habitual form of to be. So we use this when we're talking about something that's true now and continues to be true. Bíonn, there does be, that we use in English in Ireland. Next up, airce. This is the plural of airc, which is a horn, as you get on a cow. Seanfhocal dhaoine. It's a feminine word, so it's good to remember. It doesn't really matter in this case because it's in the plural. Okay, so bíonn airce. And what about these horns? Fada. This is our adjective. Fada meaning long. So airce fada. Long horns. So when we're putting an adjective with a noun, since airce is in the plural, the adjective should also match that. In a lot of cases, you'll have to add a letter on the end, often a, to put the adjective in the plural. But fada already ends in an a, so the form that you use for singular and plural is identical with the adjective fada, so it's not that difficult. We can say airce fada and no issues. And similarly, the noun airc has what we call a strong plural. So it's a grammar lesson in its own right. But very simply, the plural is formed by adding letters onto the end. In this case, we've got airce. So that's what we call a strong plural. And in cases of a strong plural, we don't need to lenite the adjective that comes after. In the case of weak plural nouns, we lenite the adjective. But again, that'll be a grammar lesson I'll cover eventually. So, bíonn airce fada. There's long horns. There does be long horns. That's our first bit. Looking at the second half, er again is a simple preposition. It can mean various things translated into English, often on, in, or at. We'll figure out at the end what's a good translation of it when we get the whole sentence. In this particular case, no, N-A, no. So yeah, it's when you see this, it's pronounced more like n rather than na or no. No. Plural form of the definite article. So we've got our singular form of the definite article, which is on, A-N. And we've got n, which is our plural form. So we know that probably what's coming next is a noun in the plural form. So in the previous proverb that we looked at, we had erna. So that's our simple preposition followed by n, or eron is what we had. That causes eclipsis of the following noun. But when we have erna with not the singular definite article but the plural definite article, we don't need to change the following noun. We don't need to eclipse it. So our next word is dhaoibh. na buaibh. So you'll notice it's not na muid, it's just na buaibh. We don't eclipse buaibh since it's na. Okay, so yeah, the buaibh, this is an old version of bow, which is cow, an old plural version of bow, and it's specifically the dative plural version. So you'll come across this occasionally. The grammar of Irish has kind of simplified through the years. There used to be dative versions of nouns that were different to the nominative case in the past. So believe it or not, Irish grammar has gotten more easy over the years. Not a lot of people will believe that. And the rule was, after the preposition nouns would be in the dative case. So some of these kind of old forms, when they're in kind of phrases or proverbs, they've kind of become solidified. So they've actually lasted even in modern speech, despite the fact that the dative case in modern Irish is basically exactly the same as the nominative case, bar a few words. So to sum up, if a noun is following the preposition it is technically still in the dative case, but in modern Irish, the dative case is basically identical to the nominative case, which is the dictionary form. It's the form of the words that you see when you look up in the dictionary. Spare a few examples, and the name of the country, Asia, is one of those. There's a separate dative case, Asian, that survives again. So, na buaibh, on the cows. Moving on, next bit. Tar or har. Again, another simple preposition, meaning over or across. The grammatical rules surrounding this one, a little bit complicated and probably just better learned by exposure. And it doesn't really matter too much if you make mistakes with it. It can cause lenition of the following word based on its usage, if it's kind of being used in a general sense or in a very specific sense. So just to compare, harbord, which is a commonly used phrase in Irish, you can see there's no lentition on the bod, but harvard on chnik, we can see we've put a H into the bod on the second example. So keep in mind, but it's not something you're going to have time to think about as you're speaking. So you'll just kind of get used to it from exposure. So yeah, that's our hard. Basically, the T-A-R is kind of an older spelling. It's always spelled T-H-A-R now, and it's pronounced as such. And our last word is liar, which means sea or ocean. So it's basically, it's quite a sort of historical, it's kind of got an old sort of literary feel to it. It's not really used much these days to mean sea or ocean. The commonly used words would be muid or feadh, most commonly. But this word lear is still used very commonly in the phrase har lear, so across the sea, over the sea, which of course means abroad or overseas in general. So if we put it all together, being aird go fada, there does be long horns, na buaibh, har lear, on the cows abroad. There does be longhorns on the cattle or cows abroad. Being aird go fada na buaibh, har lear. So this essentially gives the meaning, probably the best way to describe it in English is the grass is greener on the other side. Something that you're looking at from a distance tends to look better than the one you've got right beside you. You tend to idolize something that's far away. So the way the dictionaries, or at least the New Irish Dictionary has translated it. Oh, sorry, that's O'Donnell on the left. Distance lends enchantment to the view. That's folklore gaeilge beirle. O'Donnell. Distance lends enchantment to the view. And then the same book that I took the clip from translates it as everything coming from a distance we think better than our own. So yeah, you can see it. The kind of meaning is grass is greener on the other side. And yeah, there we have it for this week. Bíonn air go fada ar na bóibh thar lear. Bíonn air go fada ar na bóibh thar lear. The grass is greener on the other side. So, go raibh míle maith a chuin uaisle. Thank you very much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. And I'll see you again shortly, next week. Go raibh míle maith. Slán go fóill.